Sometimes life leads us down paths we don't understand. We lose something we thought we'd have forever. We face a crisis that shakes us to our core. We watch our carefully built plans crumble right before our eyes. And in those moments, we feel lost, confused, and ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? But what if I told you that every challenge you face has a hidden purpose? What if every loss, every mistake, every unexpected turn in your life is not random chaos, but part of a much bigger plan? What if the universe isn't working against you, but actually working for you in ways you can't yet see? Buddhism teaches us something profound. Nothing in life is random. Every experience, no matter how painful, shapes us, teaches us, and brings us closer to a deeper truth about ourselves and our existence. In this video, we're going to explore 7 life-changing Buddhist truths that will transform the way you see every obstacle, every setback, and every moment of suffering in your life. We'll discover how to trust life when everything feels uncertain, how to accept what's happening without giving up your power, and how to turn every single challenge into an opportunity for profound growth. If you've ever felt like life is unfair, if you've ever wondered why bad things happen to good people, or if you're going through something right now that you don't fully understand, stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you see your life forever. Before we dive deep into these teachings, I want to know something. Are you truly ready to shift your perspective on life? If you're serious about understanding why everything happens for a reason, and you're committed to this journey of transformation, type yes in the comments right now. And also, let me know where you're watching this from. I'd love to see our community from all around the world coming together to learn these ancient wisdoms. Now let's begin. The first truth we need to understand is this: suffering has a hidden purpose. Pain is one of the most universal human experiences. No one escapes it. No matter who you are, where you come from, or how much you have, you will face loss, failure, and disappointment. That's not pessimism. That's simply the reality of being human. But here's what sets people apart. It's not what we go through that defines us. It's how we interpret what we go through. In Buddhism, suffering is never seen as a punishment or some cruel twist of fate. It's not the universe being unfair to you or karma striking you down for something you did wrong. Instead, suffering is viewed as a disguised teacher, a messenger carrying wisdom that you need for your growth, even if you don't understand it in the moment. Every hardship, every painful experience holds a hidden purpose. When we experience pain, our very first instinct is to resist it. We want the problem to disappear. We want things to go back to the way they were. We want the discomfort to vanish so we can return to feeling safe and secure again. That resistance is natural, it's human, but it's also the source of so much unnecessary suffering. But what if suffering isn't here to punish us? What if it's here to transform us? Think about it. Many of life's greatest lessons, the ones that truly change who we are, only arrive through pain. A peaceful, comfortable life rarely teaches us anything profound. It's the difficult moments, the times when we're pushed to our limits, that reveal who we really are and what we're truly capable of. Just like fire purifies gold by burning away all the impurities, difficulties strip away what's unnecessary in our lives and reveal our true essence. They show us what really matters. They force us to let go of illusions we've been holding on to. They push us to develop strengths we didn't know we had. The Buddha taught something crucial. Suffering is inevitable, but unnecessary suffering is a choice. Let me say that again. Suffering is inevitable, but unnecessary suffering is a choice. The difference lies entirely in how we face it. If we cling to our pain, if we hold on to it and let it define us, we prolong it. If we fight against it, if we resist what's happening and refuse to accept reality, we actually make it stronger. But if we learn to observe our suffering without fear, if we can sit with it and ask what it's trying to teach us, we discover that within every painful experience, there is a seed of wisdom waiting to be understood. There's a classic Buddhist story that illustrates this perfectly. A disciple once came to his master, frustrated and upset. He complained about how unfair his life was. He felt like everything was against him, like nothing ever went his way. And he couldn't understand why he had to suffer so much when others seemed to have it so easy. The master listened patiently to everything the disciple had to say. He didn't interrupt, didn't judge, just listened. Then when the disciple finished, the master asked him to bring a handful of salt. The disciple, confused but obedient, went and brought back the salt. The master told him to put all of the salt into a glass of water and then drink it. The disciple did as he was told. He put the salt into the glass, stirred it, and took a sip. Immediately he grimaced and pulled back. "It's far too bitter," he said. "I can't drink this." The master nodded and said nothing. Instead, he stood up and took the disciple to a nearby lake. When they reached the water's edge, the master told him to throw the same handful of salt into the lake. The disciple did. Then the master asked him to drink from the lake. The disciple cupped his hands, brought the water to his lips, and drank. This time he smiled. "The water tastes pure," he said. "I can't even taste the salt." The master looked at him and said, "The suffering in life is like the salt. The amount doesn't change. What changes is the container you place it in. If you put your suffering into a small glass, into a narrow perspective where all you can see is your pain, then of course it will taste bitter. It will be overwhelming. But if you expand your perspective, if you place that same suffering into the vastness of a lake, into a broader understanding of life and its purpose, then the bitterness fades. The suffering is still there, but it no longer consumes you." This story teaches us something incredibly powerful. When we focus solely on our pain, when we make it the center of our entire existence, it fills every part of us. It colors everything we see, everything we think, everything we feel. But when we widen our view, when we understand that each experience is part of something much bigger than this single moment, the pain stops consuming us. It becomes just one small part of a much larger journey. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" And that simple shift in perspective, that one small change in the question we ask, changes everything. So often, the hardest experiences in our lives lead us to our greatest breakthroughs. What once seemed like a complete tragedy, something that felt like it would destroy us, can later reveal itself as a hidden blessing. Losing a job that seems stable might push you to discover a more meaningful career, one that actually aligns with who you really are. The end of a relationship that felt like it would last forever might teach you the profound value of self-love and show you that you don't need someone else to complete you. A personal crisis that brings you to your knees might open your eyes to a completely new way of living, thinking, and being in the world. Buddhism invites us to see suffering not as something to fear or avoid, but as an opportunity for growth. It's not about seeking pain. It's not about making yourself suffer unnecessarily. It's about understanding that when pain comes, and it will come because it's part of life, it's not here to destroy you. It's here to teach you. It's here to transform you. It's here to prepare you for what's next. Every tough situation forces us to develop new abilities. It builds patience when we have to wait for things we desperately want. It creates resilience when we have to get back up after falling down. It develops compassion when we experience pain and can then understand the pain of others. Suffering shows us the parts of ourselves that still need healing. It reveals our wounds, our fears, our limitations. And in revealing them, it gives us the precious chance to transform them. If you want to put this into practice starting right now, the next time you face a challenge, instead of immediately resisting it, stop. Take a breath. And ask yourself these questions. What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow? What is this pain revealing about myself that I haven't been willing to see? Suffering is an inevitable part of life. We can't avoid it, but it doesn't have to define us. It doesn't have to break us. When we accept its lessons, when we open ourselves to what it's trying to teach us, we stop seeing suffering as an enemy and start using it as a tool for transformation. In the end, every trial we face, every moment of pain we endure, is just another step on our path toward awakening. Now here's the second truth, and this might surprise you. We need darkness to transform. Comfort is a state we all naturally seek. It's human nature. We want to feel safe, secure, at ease. And when life runs smoothly, when everything seems under control, we tend to settle. We cling to what we know. We avoid taking risks. We choose the security of the familiar over the uncertainty of change. And on the surface, that seems like the smart choice, doesn't it? Why risk what you have? Why step into the unknown when you're comfortable where you are? But in Buddhism, there is a clear and profound teaching. Without chaos, there is no transformation. Without being shaken, without being challenged, without being pushed beyond what we think we're capable of, we remain exactly as we are. We stay small. We stay limited. We never discover what we're truly capable of becoming. It's often the moments that shake us to our very core that become the catalyst for real lasting change. Crises, while incredibly painful in the moment, force us to wake up. They pull us out of our comfortable routines. They push us beyond the limits we've set for ourselves. They make us question everything we thought we knew about life, about ourselves, about what's possible. Without those disruptions, we might never develop new skills. We might never challenge old beliefs that are holding us back. We might never explore paths we would have otherwise completely ignored. Life, in its infinite wisdom, uses adversity as a primary tool for our evolution. Let me give you a powerful image. Picture a seed. If a seed stays on the surface of the ground, exposed to sunlight and fresh air, but never buried in the soil, it will never grow into a tree. It needs to be pushed down into the darkness. It needs to be surrounded by soil, cut off from the light it can see. It needs to break apart from within to crack open and seemingly destroy its original form. And then it needs to struggle upward, pushing through heavy earth toward a light it can't yet see. The process is difficult. The process is uncomfortable. The seed must literally break apart to become something greater. But it's the only way for life to emerge. It's the only way for that seed to fulfill its potential and become a mighty tree. The same is true for us as human beings. Without difficult moments, without inner breaking points, without experiences that crack us open and force us to shed our old ways of being, we wouldn't have the chance to reach our true potential. We'd stay seeds on the surface, safe but never growing, comfortable but never transforming. There's a beautiful story in Buddhism that illustrates this perfectly. A young disciple once approached his master with a heavy heart. "Master," he said, "why does life have to be so hard? Why do we have to face so much pain and struggle? Wouldn't it be better if life were easy?" The master smiled gently and said nothing. Instead, he took the disciple by the hand and led him to a nearby forest. As they walked through the trees, the master suddenly stopped and pointed. There, hanging from a branch, was a butterfly struggling to free itself from its cocoon. The butterfly was pushing and fighting, trying desperately to break through the tight walls of its cocoon. The disciple watched, and his heart filled with compassion. He could see how much the butterfly was struggling, how hard it was fighting, and he couldn't bear to watch it suffer. "Master," he said, "can't we help it? The poor creature is in such pain. We could carefully tear open the cocoon and free it. Then it wouldn't have to struggle anymore." The master looked at his disciple with knowing eyes but said, "If you wish to help, then help." The disciple, relieved to end the butterfly's suffering, carefully reached up and gently tore open the cocoon. The butterfly immediately fell free, landing on a nearby leaf. But something was wrong. The butterfly's wings were shriveled and weak. It tried to fly, flapping its wings desperately, but it couldn't lift itself into the air. It remained on the leaf, crawling slowly, never able to experience the freedom of flight. The disciple looked at the master, confused and devastated. "What happened? I tried to help. Why can't it fly?" The master placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. The struggle to break free from the cocoon is what strengthens the butterfly's wings. As it pushes and fights to escape, fluid from its body is forced into its wings, making them strong enough to fly. Without that struggle, without that resistance, the wings remain weak. By removing the difficulty, you removed its opportunity to develop the strength it needed. Your compassion, though well-intended, harmed it. The disciple understood. Just like the butterfly, we need the resistance of life's challenges to build our strength. Every difficult situation forces us to adapt, to grow, to find new ways to face what lies ahead. Without those moments of chaos, without being pushed to our limits, we would stay exactly the same. We would remain in our comfort zones, wings shriveled, never learning to fly. Buddhism teaches us to see chaos not as a curse, not as evidence that something is wrong with us or our lives, but as an opportunity. It's life's way of saying, you're ready for more. You're ready to grow. You're ready to become stronger than you currently are. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We can ask, what change is this trying to bring about in my life? What version of myself is trying to emerge through this challenge? If we're honest and we look back at our own lives, we'll see a clear pattern. Most of our personal growth, most of the times we truly evolved as human beings, didn't happen during periods of peace and stability. It happened during crisis. It happened when we were forced to change. Loss taught us the true value of what we had and made us appreciate things we used to take for granted. Failure made us more resilient and showed us we could survive things we thought would break us. Unexpected changes pushed us down roads we never would have chosen on our own, roads that led us to places we never knew existed. Accepting chaos doesn't mean enjoying suffering. It doesn't mean seeking out difficulty or being grateful for pain in the moment it's happening. It means understanding that chaos is part of the process of transformation. It means recognizing that the caterpillar must dissolve completely inside the cocoon before it can become a butterfly. When we stop resisting change and start flowing with it, when we stop fighting against what's happening and start asking what it's preparing us for, we find a strength we didn't know we had. We discover capabilities we never developed in times of ease. Life isn't about avoiding challenges. That's impossible. Life is about learning how to use challenges to our advantage. Every crisis, every moment of chaos, every time life falls apart is actually an invitation to evolve. If we can trust the process, if we can surrender to the transformation that's trying to happen, we'll see that after the chaos settles, a new version of ourselves always emerges. And that new version is stronger, wiser, and more free than we were before. Now let's talk about the third truth, and this is where things get really interesting. Karma isn't what you think it is. If you've grown up in the West, or even if you're familiar with popular culture, you've probably heard people throw around the word karma casually. That's karma, someone says when something bad happens to a person who did something wrong, or good karma when something fortunate happens. But this popular understanding of karma is actually a huge misconception. And this misconception causes a lot of unnecessary suffering and confusion. So let's decode what karma really means in Buddhism. Karma is not a cosmic punishment or reward system. It's not some invisible judge in the sky keeping score of your good deeds and bad deeds and then deciding whether to give you blessings or punishments. That's not how karma works at all. Karma, in its truest sense, simply means action and consequence. It means cause and effect. Every action you take creates an effect, a ripple that moves through your life and the lives of others. That's karma. It's not mystical. It's not magical. It's actually quite logical when you understand it correctly. In the West, karma has been simplified and misunderstood. It's been turned into this idea of cosmic justice, where if you do bad things will happen to you. And if you do good things will happen to you. While there's a tiny grain of truth in that oversimplification, it misses the depth and complexity of what Buddhism actually teaches. The Eastern understanding of karma is much more nuanced. It recognizes that we're all interconnected, that every action we take doesn't exist in isolation, but creates waves that affect everything around us. It understands that karma isn't about punishment, it's about learning. It's about understanding the consequences of our choices so we can make better ones. There's a famous Buddhist story that perfectly illustrates how we often misjudge events in our lives, not understanding whether they're good or bad until much later. It's called the story of the farmer and his horse. There was once a farmer who lived in a small village. He wasn't wealthy, but he had one prized possession, a beautiful, strong horse that helped him work his land. One day, the horse ran away. The villagers came to the farmer and said, "Oh, what terrible luck! You've lost your horse. This is such bad fortune." But the farmer simply replied, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" The villagers thought he was crazy. How could losing his only horse not be bad luck? But the farmer went about his day, accepting what had happened without judgment. A few days later, the horse returned, and it brought with it 7 wild horses. Now the farmer had 8 horses instead of 1. The villagers rushed over and exclaimed, "What incredible luck! Now you're wealthy. This is wonderful fortune." But again, the farmer simply said, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" The next week, the farmer's only son was trying to tame one of the wild horses. He was thrown off and broke his leg badly. The villagers came again, shaking their heads. "Oh, what terrible luck! Your son is injured and can't help you with the farm. This is such a tragedy." The farmer looked at them calmly and said, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" The villagers were starting to think the old farmer had lost his mind. How could he not see that these events were clearly good or bad? Then a week later, the army came through the village. There was a war, and they were conscripting every able-bodied young man to fight. It was a brutal war, and most who went did not return. But when they came to the farmer's house, they saw his son with a broken leg and left him behind. He could not fight. His life was spared. The villagers returned, amazed. "You were right. Your son breaking his leg was actually good fortune. It saved his life." And the farmer, consistent as ever, simply smiled and said, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" This story teaches us something profound about karma and about life itself. We cannot judge events in isolation. What appears to be a disaster in this moment might be setting up a blessing in the future. What seems like incredible fortune right now might lead to unforeseen challenges later. We simply don't have the perspective to know. We're too close, too involved, too limited in our view. When we understand karma correctly, we see that it's not about what the universe is doing to us. It's about how our past actions, our past choices, our past ways of being in the world have created the conditions for our present reality. And more importantly, it's about understanding that in every single moment, we have the power to create new karma. We have the power to make new choices that will shape our future. Karma is not about guilt or blame. It's not about beating yourself up for past mistakes or feeling like you're forever doomed because of something you did years ago. Buddhism is never about punishment. It's about understanding. When you understand how your actions create your reality, you can start making different choices. You can start creating different results. Every moment is an opportunity to create new karma, to plant new seeds that will grow into your future experiences. But here's what makes karma even more complex. We're not just dealing with the karma we create in this lifetime. Buddhism teaches that we carry karmic patterns, tendencies, and lessons from beyond what we can see or remember. This isn't about being punished for something you did in a past life. It's about understanding that certain patterns, certain challenges, certain lessons keep appearing in your life because your consciousness needs to learn something, needs to resolve something, needs to transform something. And here's the liberating truth. Recognition is the first step to breaking free from old karmic patterns. When you can see your patterns clearly, when you can recognize that you keep ending up in the same type of situation or relationship or problem over and over again, that awareness itself begins to break the cycle. You can't change what you can't see. Conscious choices versus reactive behaviors, that's the key to creating new karma. When you react unconsciously, when you just do what you've always done, you perpetuate the same patterns and get the same results. But when you make conscious choices, when you pause and choose differently than you have in the past, you start creating new karma. You start writing a different story. Let me give you a practical exercise you can do right now to start understanding your own karmic patterns. Take a moment and think about your life. Are there patterns that keep repeating? Do you keep attracting the same type of partner who ultimately hurts you in similar ways? Do you keep getting into conflicts with authority figures? Do you keep self-sabotaging just when you're about to succeed? These patterns aren't random. They're not bad luck. They're karmic patterns, and they're showing up to teach you something. They're inviting you to heal something, to learn something, to grow beyond a limitation you've been carrying. The beautiful thing about understanding karma correctly is that it removes the victim mentality completely. You're not a victim of random cosmic punishment. You're not helpless against forces beyond your control. You're a participant in creating your reality, and if you participated in creating the reality you have now, even unconsciously, then you have the power to participate consciously in creating a different reality moving forward. But karma is just one part of a much bigger picture. Because while karma explains cause and effect, there's something even deeper at work in the universe. Something that's orchestrating all of this in ways that are far more profound than simple cause and effect. And that brings us to the fourth truth. There is an invisible order to life called Dharma. There are moments when life feels completely out of control. We face obstacles we never saw coming. Things don't go according to our carefully laid plans, and we start to wonder, am I on the wrong path? Did I make a terrible mistake? Is the universe against me? But Buddhism teaches us something radically different from this fear-based thinking. Nothing in the universe happens by chance. There is an invisible order guiding everything, even when we can't see it, even when it makes no sense to us in the moment. This order is known as Dharma. Dharma is the natural law that governs all of existence. It's the quiet, perfect flow that moves behind all of life's events, where everything happens at exactly the right time and for a specific reason. There are no mistakes. There are no accidents. Even the experiences we label as negative, even the things we think shouldn't have happened, are part of a much larger balance that we can't fully see from our limited perspective. Look at nature, and you'll see Dharma in action. The seasons change exactly when they need to. Spring doesn't arrive early because we're impatient for warmth. Winter doesn't extend itself because we're not ready for cold. Rivers flow without resistance, following the path of least resistance, always moving toward the ocean even when they have to wind around obstacles. Trees grow without rushing, without anxiety, without questioning whether they're growing fast enough or in the right direction. Nothing in nature asks why things are the way they are. Nothing in nature resists its own process. Everything simply follows its course, trusts its unfolding, and allows Dharma to guide it. But as human beings, we struggle with this. We want life to fit our expectations. We want control over outcomes. We want guarantees and certainty. And when life doesn't cooperate with our plans, when it doesn't give us what we think we need when we think we need it, we suffer, we fight, we resist. We make ourselves miserable trying to force life to be different than it is. There's an old Buddhist story that captures this struggle perfectly. A man was caught in a storm at sea. The waves were enormous, crashing over him again and again, threatening to pull him under. He fought against the waves with everything he had. He used all his strength, all his will, all his energy, trying to keep himself above water, trying to control his position, trying to survive through sheer force of effort. But the more he struggled, the more exhausted he became. And the more exhausted he became, the more he sank. His fighting was actually making things worse. Finally completely spent, with no energy left to fight, he simply let go. He stopped struggling. He allowed himself to float, to surrender to the water, to trust that maybe, just maybe, fighting wasn't the answer. And at that very moment, the current, which he'd been fighting against with all his might, gently carried him back to shore. He'd been fighting the very thing that was trying to save him. This is exactly how Dharma works. When we stop resisting, when we stop trying to control every aspect of life, when we trust the flow rather than fight it, we often find our way with much less suffering. We often discover that life was trying to take us somewhere better all along, but we were so busy fighting that we couldn't see it. Now, this doesn't mean we should be passive. This doesn't mean we should just sit back and never take action, never make choices, never pursue our goals. That's not what Buddhism teaches. Dharma isn't about being a leaf blown by the wind with no will of its own. On the contrary, Dharma invites us to act, but to act with awareness. It invites us to make choices, but to make choices that are aligned with our true nature, not with our ego's demands. Many times, suffering shows up in our lives when we've drifted away from our true purpose, when we're living in a way that's not aligned with who we really are, when we're pursuing things that don't actually serve our growth, when we're forcing a path that isn't meant for us. Life sends us signals. At first, they're gentle, a feeling of unease, a sense that something's not quite right, a lack of joy or fulfillment even when we're getting what we thought we wanted. But if we ignore those gentle signals, if we push forward anyway convinced that we know better than life itself, then the signals get louder. We meet obstacles that force us to stop. We experience losses that make us reconsider. We face challenges that push us to realign with who we really are and what we're really meant to be doing. Buddhism teaches that when something leaves our life, when a door closes, when an opportunity disappears, it's not a punishment, it's not bad luck. It's because that thing, that person, that path no longer serves our growth. It served its purpose. We learned what we needed to learn, and now it's time to move on, even if we don't understand why yet. When we're challenged, when life becomes difficult, it's not because we did something wrong. It's because we're being prepared for what's next. We're being strengthened. We're being refined. We're being pushed to develop capacities we don't yet have, but will desperately need for the next chapter of our journey. And when something is delayed, when we want something desperately, but it's not coming, it's not because the universe is withholding it from us out of cruelty. It's because the timing isn't right yet. Either we're not ready, or the thing itself isn't ready, or the conditions aren't aligned. But when the time is right, when everything is in place, things flow with an ease that feels almost magical. Dharma reminds us that everything happens in its own time. We can't force a flower to bloom by pulling on its petals. We can't make the sun rise any earlier by wishing for it. And we can't force our lives to unfold on our timeline. Life has its own rhythm, its own timing, its own wisdom, and trusting that rhythm, surrendering to that timing, aligning with that wisdom, that's what frees us from anxiety and frustration. We often want quick answers. We want the pain to end immediately. We want change to happen now, right now, not later. But life doesn't work on our schedule. There's a bigger picture we can't see, a longer timeline we're not aware of, a deeper purpose we don't yet understand. When we begin to understand that everything unfolds for a reason, we stop seeing difficulties as punishments. We stop asking, why is this happening to me, as if we're victims of random cruelty. Instead, we start seeing difficulties as opportunities. We start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Where is this trying to take me? What is this preparing me for? Often we only understand Dharma with time. What looks like a devastating loss today may reveal itself months or years later as exactly what we needed. What feels like the worst thing that could possibly happen might actually be redirecting us toward the best thing that could happen. But we can't see that in the moment. We're too close. We're too hurt. We're too focused on what we've lost to see what we're being given. But if we can trust, if we can hold on to faith, even when we don't understand, if we can believe that there is an invisible order working in our favor, even when everything looks like chaos, then we'll find peace. Even in the midst of uncertainty, even when nothing makes sense, even when we're in the darkness and can't see the path ahead, we can trust that Dharma is guiding us. Each of us has a unique path. Each of us has our own Dharma, our own purpose, our own journey. And we can't compare our journey to anyone else's. What's right for another person may not be right for us. What works for someone else may not work for us. What timeline someone else is on has nothing to do with our own. Social media makes this so much harder. We see everyone else's highlight reel and compare it to our behind-the-scenes struggle. We see people reaching milestones we haven't reached yet and wonder what's wrong with us. We see others seemingly having it all figured out while we're still searching, still questioning, still trying to find our way. But that comparison is a trap, because you're not seeing their full journey. You're not seeing their struggles, their setbacks, their dark nights of the soul. You're only seeing a curated moment. And more importantly, their journey is not your journey. Their Dharma is not your Dharma. Listening to your inner voice, following your intuition, paying attention to what genuinely brings you alive versus what you think should bring you alive, embracing change with openness rather than resistance. All of this helps us walk in harmony with Dharma. When we're aligned with our Dharma, life still has challenges, but there's a sense of rightness underneath it all. There's a feeling of being on the right path even when the path is difficult. There's a deep knowing that we're exactly where we need to be, learning exactly what we need to learn, becoming exactly who we're meant to become. We are not here by accident. That's one of the most important things to understand. Your existence is not random. You were not thrown into this life without purpose or meaning. Every experience you have, every person you meet, every decision you make, every turn your life takes, all of it is part of a greater balance, a larger unfolding, a deeper intelligence that's orchestrating everything in ways we can barely comprehend. When we trust that everything happens in its perfect time, we stop living in fear. We stop trying to control and manipulate and force. We stop exhausting ourselves trying to make things happen on our timeline. And we start living with purpose, with trust, with a deep sense of peace that comes from knowing that we're held by something far greater than ourselves. But here's where it gets tricky, because even when we understand Dharma intellectually, even when we know there's an invisible order guiding everything, we still struggle with one thing that causes immense suffering, and that's our need for control. The illusion of control is one of the deepest sources of human suffering. From the moment we're young, from the time we're children, we're taught that we need to take control of our lives. We're told that if We work hard enough if we make the right plans, if we make the right decisions, if we do everything correctly, then things will go the way we want them to. Success, happiness, security, it's all within our control if we just try hard enough. But sooner or later, life proves otherwise. No matter how carefully we plan, no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we try to control every variable, there are things that slip through our fingers. A relationship that seemed completely stable suddenly falls apart for reasons we didn't see coming. A job we thought was absolutely secure disappears overnight through no fault of our own. Plans that look perfect, that we spent months or years building, suddenly fail for reasons we can't understand or explain. And when things don't go our way, when life doesn't follow our script, we feel frustrated, anxious, and deeply afraid. We ask ourselves what we did wrong. We replay every decision, every action, trying to figure out where we messed up. We torture ourselves wondering why everything fell apart when we tried so hard to do everything right. This is where Buddhism offers us a powerful, liberating insight. Control is an illusion. Nothing in life is ever truly certain. We think we can create stability. We believe that if we just plan well enough, if we just work hard enough, if we just make all the right choices, we can guarantee certain outcomes. But the truth is, life moves according to its own rhythm. Life has its own plan, and that plan doesn't always align with ours. The problem is that our mind desperately craves certainty. Our ego wants guarantees. It wants to know exactly what's going to happen and exactly when it's going to happen. It wants to eliminate all risk, all uncertainty, all possibility of loss. And when life doesn't deliver those guarantees, when it refuses to give us the certainty we crave, we panic. We feel unsafe. We feel like we're spinning out of control. There's an old Buddhist story that explains this beautifully. A king once called his 3 wisest advisors to his court. He had been struggling with a question that kept him awake at night. "Why is life so unpredictable?" he asked them. "Why can't we know what will happen? Why can't we control our fate?" The first advisor stepped forward confidently. "Your Majesty," he said, "life is unpredictable because it's all luck. We're at the mercy of random chance. Sometimes fortune smiles on us, sometimes it doesn't. There's nothing we can do about it." The king nodded but didn't look satisfied. The second advisor then spoke. "Your Majesty," he said, "I disagree. Life is unpredictable, but it's not random. It's the result of all our past decisions. Every choice we make creates ripples that affect our future. If we make wise choices, good things happen. If we make poor choices, we suffer the consequences." The king considered this but still seemed troubled. Then he looked to his third advisor, the oldest and wisest of them all. This advisor had said nothing. He simply stood there, calm and quiet, watching the king with gentle eyes. "And what do you say?" the king asked. "Why is life so unpredictable?" The old advisor smiled but didn't answer with words. Instead, he bowed and said, "Your Majesty, come with me." Curious, the king followed the advisor out of the palace. They walked together in silence until they reached a wide, rushing river. The water was powerful, flowing swiftly over rocks and around bends, constantly moving, never still. The advisor stopped at the river's edge and turned to the king. "Your Majesty," he said, "please try to stop this water with your hands." The king looked at him, confused, but he was a good sport. He bent down, put his hands into the river, and tried to stop the flow. Water rushed through his fingers. He cupped his hands, trying to hold it, but it slipped away. He tried different positions, different angles, using all his strength, but no matter what he did, the water kept flowing. It moved around his hands, through his hands, over his hands. It was completely unstoppable. After several minutes, exhausted and frustrated, the king pulled his hands out and looked at the advisor. "It's impossible," he said. I can't stop it. The advisor nodded. Life is like this river, Your Majesty. You can try to control it. You can use all your strength, all your will, all your power. But in the end, it will flow the way it needs to flow. The river doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't ask your permission. It follows its own course. The only choice you truly have is to learn to move with it. You can fight the current and exhaust yourself, or you can learn to swim with it and let it carry you where you need to go. Suffering so often comes from clinging to how we think things should be. We create a mental picture of how our life should look. We decide that we'll only be happy if we achieve a certain goal, if we have a certain relationship, if we reach a certain status, if life stays exactly the way we want it. And then we hold on to that picture with white-knuckle desperation. But life doesn't work that way. It never has. Life is change. Life is flow. Life is constant movement and transformation. And the tighter we hold on to our need for control, the tighter we grip our expectations of how things should be, the harder it becomes to flow with what's actually happening. We create our own suffering through resistance. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. This is so important to understand. Letting go of control doesn't mean becoming passive, doesn't mean never taking action, doesn't mean just accepting terrible situations without trying to improve them. That's not what Buddhism teaches at all. What it means is this: we can take action, we can make choices, we can pursue our goals and dreams, but we release our grip on the outcome. We do our best, we give our full effort, we act with intention and wisdom, but then we let go of demanding that things turn out exactly as we planned. We trust that whatever happens, we'll be able to handle it. In Buddhism, there's a practice known as Wu Wei. It's actually from Taoist philosophy, but it's deeply integrated into Buddhist practice. Wu Wei translates to effortless action or non-doing. When people first hear this, they often misunderstand it. They think it means sitting back and doing nothing, being lazy, not taking responsibility. But that's not what it means at all. Wu Wei means acting in harmony with the natural flow of life. It means effort without strain. It means action without force. Think of a skilled surfer. A surfer doesn't control the waves. The waves are far more powerful than any human. But a good surfer learns to read the waves, to feel their rhythm, to position themselves correctly, and then to ride them. They're not passive, they're actively engaged, making constant adjustments, using skill and awareness. But they're not fighting the ocean, they're moving with it. That's Wu Wei. That's effortless action. Rather than trying to push against the current of life, we learn to navigate with it. Rather than exhausting ourselves trying to force doors open that are meant to stay closed, we look for the doors that open naturally. Rather than resisting the inevitable changes that life brings, we adapt and move gracefully with what comes. When we trust that life will take us where we need to go, anxiety begins to fade. We stop obsessing over what might happen tomorrow. We stop creating elaborate disaster scenarios in our mind. We stop trying to control every detail and every outcome, and we start living fully in the present moment, which is the only moment that actually exists. We accept that there will be times of uncertainty. We acknowledge that we can't see the future, can't predict every outcome, can't prevent every loss, but we no longer see uncertainty as a threat. We see it as a natural and necessary part of our journey. We see it as an opening, as possibility, as the space where life can surprise us in beautiful ways we never could have planned. One of the most helpful practices you can do is to reflect on past moments when life didn't go as you planned, yet something better emerged from it. This isn't about positive thinking or pretending bad things are actually good. It's about seeing the reality of how life often works. Maybe you remember a relationship that ended, and at the time it felt like the worst thing that could ever happen to you. You were devastated. You couldn't imagine moving forward. But looking back now, you can see that ending that relationship led to a period of deep self-discovery. It taught you things about yourself you never would have learned otherwise. It made space for a healthier relationship later, or for a deeper relationship with yourself. Maybe you lost a job that you thought defined you. You felt like a failure. You didn't know how you'd recover, but that loss opened the door to a completely different career path, one that's actually more aligned with who you really are and what you really value. Or maybe you experienced a failure, something you worked incredibly hard for that didn't pan out. It was humiliating. It was painful. But that failure revealed strengths you didn't know you had. It showed you that you could survive disappointment and get back up. It taught you resilience in a way success never could have. When we let go of the illusion of control, we stop living in fear. We stop trying to manipulate every detail of our lives and everyone around us. We stop exhausting ourselves with anxiety about all the things that might go wrong. And instead, we trust our ability to face whatever comes. We trust that we're resourceful enough, strong enough, wise enough to handle whatever life brings. This doesn't mean life will suddenly become easy. Letting go of control doesn't eliminate challenges or difficulties or loss, but what it does mean is that we can find peace even in the middle of uncertainty. We can have calm even when we don't have clarity. We can feel grounded even when everything around us is changing. Life is not something we control. It's something we learn to dance with. It's something we learn to flow with. It's something we learn to trust. When we stop fighting the natural flow of existence, when we stop demanding that life conform to our plans, when we stop white-knuckling our way through every day trying to force outcomes, we discover a calm we never knew existed. We find a clarity that was always there, but was hidden beneath our need for control. And we experience a freedom that only comes from surrendering the impossible task of controlling the uncontrollable. But even when we understand this intellectually, even when we know that control is an illusion and that we should trust the flow of life, we still face one persistent challenge. And that challenge is uncertainty itself. Peace in the unexpected is possible. Learning to find peace, even when we have no idea what's coming next, is one of the greatest skills we can develop. Life is absolutely full of surprises. One moment, everything feels steady, secure, predictable. We've got our routines, our plans, our sense of how things are going to unfold. And then, in an instant, everything shifts. We lose a job we thought we'd have for years. A relationship ends when we thought it was solid. A health crisis appears out of nowhere. A global event changes everything about how we live. Uncertainty is not an occasional visitor in life. It's a constant companion. But instead of accepting it as a natural part of existence, most people fight against it with everything they have. We search desperately for security, for control, for certainty. We try to build walls of safety around ourselves. We make elaborate plans to eliminate risk. We grasp for guarantees that don't exist. Yet despite all our efforts, change remains the only constant we truly have. Everything changes. Relationships change. Bodies change. Circumstances change. The world changes. We change. Nothing stays the same. Buddhism teaches us something radical. Peace doesn't come from removing uncertainty from our lives. That's impossible. Peace comes from learning how to live with uncertainty. It comes from developing a different relationship with the unknown. We can't stop life from changing. We have absolutely no control over that. But we can choose how we respond to change. We can choose whether we meet it with resistance or acceptance, with fear or curiosity, with rigidity or flexibility. We can still find deep serenity even when nothing feels sure, even when we're living in the middle of complete unknowing. Imagine being in a small boat, floating in the middle of a vast ocean. If you try to control the waves, if you exhaust yourself trying to stop the water from moving, you'll only tire yourself out. You'll deplete your energy fighting against something far more powerful than you. But if you learn to move with the waves, if you learn to flow instead of resist, if you let the boat rise and fall with the natural rhythm of the water, you'll discover that you can travel through even the roughest waters. You can survive storms that would sink someone who's fighting. Uncertainty is like that ocean. We can't stop its movement. The waves of change will keep coming whether we like it or not. But we can learn how to sail. We can learn how to navigate. We can learn how to stay afloat and even find moments of beauty in the journey. There's a powerful story in the Buddhist tradition about a monk who lived in a small monastery on top of a mountain. He had lived there for many years, in peace and solitude, dedicating his life to meditation and practice. One day, a villager came running up the mountain path, out of breath and frantic. When he reached the monastery, he found the monk sitting calmly in the garden. "Master," the villager cried, "you must leave immediately. A massive storm is coming. The biggest storm anyone has ever seen. It will destroy everything in its path. You need to come down from the mountain before it's too late." The monk looked up at the villager with calm, peaceful eyes. He smiled gently. "If the storm comes," he said simply, "I will welcome it." The villager was shocked. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "But Master, you don't understand. This storm could kill you. You might die." The monk's smile deepened. "If I die," he said, "I will accept death. If I live, I will accept life. Whatever happens, I will accept it. I will not waste my energy fighting what I cannot control." The villager stared at him, completely confused. How could anyone be so calm in the face of such danger? How could he just accept the possibility of death? But the monk understood something the villager didn't. He understood that fear doesn't protect us. Anxiety doesn't change outcomes. Worry doesn't prevent disaster. The only thing resisting reality does is make us suffer more. Now, this doesn't mean we should be reckless or careless. This doesn't mean we shouldn't take reasonable precautions or protect ourselves when we can. The monk isn't being foolish. He's not saying he wants to die or that he wouldn't take shelter if it was available. What he's saying is much deeper. He's saying that he releases his fear of what he cannot control. He accepts that life includes death. He accepts that he cannot guarantee his own safety no matter how much he worries. And that acceptance brings him peace that the anxious villager cannot access. The fear of uncertainty comes from doubting our ability to face the unknown. We're afraid that if something unexpected happens, if our plans fall apart, if we lose what we have, if life doesn't go the way we want, we won't be able to handle it. We'll fall apart. We'll be destroyed. We won't survive. But here's the truth that we so often forget. We have already survived every single challenge life has sent our way so far. Every loss, every disappointment, every crisis, every moment when we thought we couldn't go on, we got through it. We're still here. We're still standing. We're stronger than we give ourselves credit for. And that means we can handle whatever comes next too. We have this incredible resilience within us that we constantly underestimate. Many times, the unexpected brings opportunities we never would have imagined. When we're rigidly attached to one specific plan, to one specific path, we can't see the other possibilities that are trying to reveal themselves. Losing a job can feel like a disaster, but it might open up a completely new career path that you never would have considered otherwise, a path that's actually more fulfilling. The end of a relationship can feel like the end of your world, but it might lead to a period of deep self-understanding and growth that transforms your entire life. An unexpected challenge, something you never wanted to face, can help. You develop capacities and strengths you never knew you had, capacities you'll need for the next chapter of your journey. When life interrupts our plans, it might actually be creating space for something better. It might be redirecting us toward a path we couldn't see because we were so focused on the path we thought we should be on. One helpful way to find peace in uncertain times is to ask yourself some honest questions. How many times has something that looked terrible at first, something that seemed like the worst thing that could happen, turned out to be a hidden blessing later? How many times have you looked back and thought, I'm actually grateful that didn't work out the way I planned? Do you really need to know every answer right now? Is it actually helpful to have every detail figured out? Or does that need for certainty just create more anxiety? Are you losing the present moment, the only moment you actually have, because you're too focused on a future that hasn't even arrived yet, a future you're trying to control that might never exist the way you imagine it? Life is always moving forward. The river is always flowing. Fighting that flow, resisting that movement, only brings more pain. It's exhausting, it's futile, and it keeps us from experiencing the beauty and possibility that exists right here, right now. Accepting the unknown doesn't mean letting go of your hopes. It doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It doesn't mean settling for less than you deserve or stopping your efforts to create a good life. What it means is trusting that no matter what happens, no matter how things unfold, no matter what surprises come your way, you'll still find your way. You'll still be okay. You'll still be able to create meaning and find purpose. Peace isn't about having every answer. It's not about knowing exactly what tomorrow will bring. It's not about eliminating all risk and uncertainty from your life. Peace is about learning how to live with the questions. It's about being comfortable with not knowing. It's about trusting yourself and trusting life even when you can't see the path ahead. Nothing in life is completely certain. Nothing is guaranteed. Everything is temporary. Everything changes. And when you release your fear of the unknown, when you stop demanding certainty as a prerequisite for peace, you discover an incredible freedom. Instead of worrying constantly about what might happen, you start living fully in what is happening. Instead of creating anxiety about a future you can't control, you start appreciating the present you can experience. And that shift, that simple but profound shift from trying to control the future to trusting yourself in the present, changes everything. Now we come to the sixth truth, and this is where we need to address something that often confuses people. If everything happens for a reason, if there's this invisible order called Dharma guiding everything, does that mean we have no free will? Does it mean everything is predetermined? Are we just puppets on strings, acting out a script that was written before we were born? This is one of the most important questions we can ask because it sits at the heart of how we understand our lives and our power. The Buddhist answer is beautiful in its balance. It's not pure fate. It's not pure free will. It's something far more nuanced. It's what Buddhism calls the middle way. We exist in a dance between destiny and choice, between what is given and what we create, between the currents of life that carry us and our ability to navigate those currents. Think of it like this. You're in a river, and that river has a current. You didn't create the current. You didn't choose which river you were born into. The force of the water, the direction it flows, that's beyond your control. That's destiny. That's dharma. That's the reality you've been given. But here's what you do have. You can learn to swim. You can choose how you move within that current. You can steer toward one bank or the other. You can decide whether to fight the flow or move with it. You can choose whether to panic or stay calm. You can't control the current, but you absolutely can control how you navigate it. That's your free will. That's your power. That's where your choice lives. We don't have control over the events that happen to us, but we have complete control over how we respond to those events. And that response, that's where everything changes. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps, one of the most horrific experiences any human being could endure, said something profound. He said that between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. This is exactly what Buddhism teaches. Events happen, life unfolds, Things come and go. That's the stimulus. That's what life gives us. But we always have a space between what happens and how we respond. And in that space, we have choice. We have power. We have freedom. Two people can experience the exact same event and have completely different lives afterward. Not because the event was different, but because their interpretation and response were different. One person loses their job and falls into despair, sees themselves as a failure, gives up on their dreams, and never recovers. Another person loses their job and sees it as an opportunity, a chance to try something new, a push to finally pursue what they really care about. Same event, completely different outcomes. Why? Because of the meaning they chose to give it and the actions they chose to take afterward. Your interpretation of events shapes your experience more than the events themselves. This is a radical teaching, but it's true. It's not what happens to you that defines your life. It's what you make of what happens to you. It's the story you tell yourself about what it means. It's whether you choose to be a victim or a student. It's whether you choose to stay stuck or to grow. There's a beautiful Buddhist story that illustrates this perfectly. Two monks were traveling together on a long journey. They walked for days, mostly in silence, as was their practice. One day, they came to a river that they needed to cross. Standing at the edge of the river was a young woman. She was clearly distressed, looking at the rushing water with fear in her eyes. She turned to the monks. "Please," she said, "I need to cross this river, but I'm afraid. The current is too strong. I'll be swept away." Now these monks had taken vows that included not touching women. It was a strict rule in their order. The older monk didn't hesitate. Without a word, he walked over to the woman, lifted her onto his back, and carried her across the river. He set her down gently on the other side. She thanked him profusely, and the monks continued on their journey. The younger monk was shocked. He couldn't believe what he'd just witnessed. As they walked, his mind raced. How could his companion break such an important vow? How could he touch a woman when it was strictly forbidden? Why would he do that? Hours passed. The younger monk's agitation grew. He couldn't let it go. Finally, unable to contain himself any longer, he burst out, "How could you do that? You know we're not supposed to touch women. You broke your vow. You carried her across the river." The older monk stopped walking. He turned to the younger monk with calm, gentle eyes. "Brother," he said, "I put that woman down hours ago on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" This story reveals something crucial about where our power actually lies. The event happened. The monk carried the woman. That was reality. But one monk put it down and moved on. The other monk carried it in his mind, let it disturb his peace, let it create suffering for hours. Same event, two completely different experiences. Why? Because of what they chose to focus on, what meaning they gave it, what they decided to carry. We are constantly making choices like this. We're constantly deciding what we'll carry and what we'll put down. We're constantly choosing how we'll interpret what happens to us. And those choices, accumulated over days and years and a lifetime, those choices shape who we become. So where does our power actually lie? It lies in conscious participation with life. It lies in making aligned choices, choices that are true to who we really are, rather than reactive choices based on fear or habit or what others expect. It lies in recognizing opportunities when they appear and having the courage to move toward them. It lies in knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to let go. Buddhism teaches us to develop wisdom, the wisdom to know the difference. There are times when we need to act, when we need to put in effort, when we need to make things happen. Sitting back and waiting for life to deliver everything to us is not the teaching. But there are also times when we need to wait, when we need to be patient, when the conditions aren't right yet, and forcing things will only create problems. And there are times when we need to let go completely, when we need to release our grip, when we need to surrender to what is and stop fighting reality. Knowing which is which, that's wisdom. That's what practice develops. That's what experience teaches us. How do we know when we're making aligned choices versus when we're trying to force something that's not meant for us? One way is to pay attention to signs. Buddhism and many wisdom traditions teach us that life is constantly giving us feedback. When we're on the right path, even if it's challenging, there are signs, synchronicities appear. Things that seem like coincidences but feel meaningful. The right people show up at the right time. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. You feel a sense of flow, even in difficulty. There's a rightness to it, a sense of, yes, this is hard, but it's the right kind of hard. Compare that to when you're forcing something that's not meant for you. Everything feels like a struggle. You're constantly hitting walls. Doors stay closed no matter how hard you push. You feel exhausted, depleted, like you're swimming against a current that's too strong. There's a wrongness to it, a sense of, why is this so hard? Why is nothing working? Now, this doesn't mean you should give up the moment something is difficult. Growth is difficult. Change is difficult. Anything worthwhile requires effort. But there's a difference between the difficulty of growth and the difficulty of forcing the wrong thing. One energizes you even as it challenges you. The other depletes you. One feels meaningful. The other feels empty. Learning to feel that difference, that's how we navigate the space between free will and destiny. We're not passive recipients of whatever life throws at us. We're active participants. We're conscious navigators. We're co-creators, working with the currents of life rather than against them. Your inner peace becomes your compass. When you're aligned with your true path, with your dharma, there's a peace underneath everything, even when circumstances are challenging. When you're forcing a wrong path, there's an unease that won't go away, even when circumstances seem fine on the surface. Learn to trust that inner knowing. So yes, everything happens for a reason. Yes, there's an invisible order guiding events. And yes, you still have free will. You still have choice. You still have power. Those things are not contradictory. They work together. Life gives you the current. You choose how to navigate it. And that navigation, that's where your life is truly created. Now we come to the seventh and final truth, and this is where everything we've talked about comes together into one powerful understanding. Every event, every experience, every moment of joy, and every moment of pain, all of it is bringing us closer to awakening. Life can often feel confusing, can't it? We go through challenges that don't make sense. We experience losses that seem pointless. We face changes we never wished for and didn't ask for. And in the middle of it all, we wonder, what's the point? Why am I going through this? What does any of this mean? But Buddhism reminds us of something profound. Every single situation, no matter how painful, no matter how confusing, no matter how unfair it seems, is part of our journey toward awakening. Nothing is wasted, nothing is meaningless. Everything is teaching us something. Enlightenment, awakening, whatever we want to call it. It's not some distant goal that only a few special people can reach. It's not something we need to search for outside ourselves. It's not hidden in some monastery or sacred place far away. It's already within us, right now, simply waiting to be recognized. And every moment in life, especially the difficult ones, invites us to wake up. Every challenge is an invitation to see things as they truly are, without the filters of our fear, without the distortion of our ego, without the resistance that keeps us trapped in suffering. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most, when you really transformed as a person, when you became wiser, stronger, more compassionate, more understanding. Were those your easiest moments, Were those the times when everything was comfortable and smooth? Probably not. They were likely the times when life challenged you, when you were stretched beyond what you thought you could handle, when you were forced to face parts of yourself you'd been avoiding, when you had to let go of beliefs that no longer served you, when you had to change in ways you didn't want to change. That is the path to awakening. It's not a sudden miracle. It's not a bolt of lightning that strikes you one day and suddenly you understand everything. For some rare individuals, maybe, but for most of us, awakening is a slow and steady journey. It's a gradual process of understanding ourselves more deeply, of seeing through our own illusions, of recognizing our true nature beneath all the conditioning and fear and ego. Every painful experience is an opportunity to wake up. Every loss teaches us about impermanence and the danger of attachment. Every failure shows us that our worth isn't dependent on our achievements. Every betrayal reveals where we were deceiving ourselves. Every moment of loneliness teaches us about our relationship with ourselves. Everything, and I mean everything, is working to wake us up if we're willing to learn from it. When we stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" with the voice of a victim, and we start asking, "What can I learn from this?" with the voice of a student, everything begins to change. Our entire relationship with life transforms. We move from feeling like victims of random cruelty to becoming conscious participants in our own evolution. Every challenge transforms from an enemy to a teacher. Every setback transforms from a tragedy to an opportunity. Every painful moment transforms from something that's destroying us to something that's actually shaping us into who we're meant to become. So if life feels heavy right now, if you're in the middle of something you don't fully understand, if you're facing a challenge that feels overwhelming, I want you to hear this. Trust that it is part of your journey. Trust that there is meaning in it, even if you can't see it yet. Trust that you are being shaped, refined, prepared for something greater. Nothing that happens to you is ever wasted. Nothing happens without meaning. Every single thing you go through, every experience you have, every person you meet, every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every defeat, all of it is shaping you into who you are meant to become. Sometimes we only see the meaning years later. Sometimes we never fully understand why something happened. But that doesn't mean there wasn't a reason. It just means we don't have access to the full picture. We're seeing one small piece of a much larger tapestry. We're reading one page of a much longer story. And when you look back on your life, if you really look honestly, you'll see that the things that seem most terrible at the time often turned out to be the things that changed you in the most profound and necessary ways. The moments that broke you open were the moments that let the light in. The experiences that felt like they were destroying you were actually destroying a version of you that was too small, too limited, too afraid. They were making space for a bigger, freer, truer version of you to emerge. Everything happens for a reason, not as a way to excuse pain or minimize suffering or pretend that terrible things are actually good, but as a recognition that we live in an intelligent universe, a universe that is always moving toward balance, toward growth, toward awakening, and we are part of that movement. We're not separate from it, we're expressions of it. Your life, with all its ups and downs, all its joys and sorrows, all its expected moments and unexpected turns, your life is meaningful, it has purpose, it matters, and the more you can trust that, the more you can surrender to the flow of your own unique journey, the more peace you'll find. Not the peace of having all the answers, but the peace of trusting the questions. Not the peace of controlling everything, but the peace of accepting what is. Not the peace of an easy life, but the peace of a meaningful one. If this message has resonated with you, if something in these teachings has touched your heart or shifted your perspective, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and become part of our community, We're all on this journey together, learning these ancient wisdoms, supporting each other, exploring what it means to live with greater awareness and peace. And I would truly love to know which lesson from this video touched you the most? Which truth do you need to hear right now? Maybe it's the understanding that suffering has a purpose. Maybe it's the recognition that you need chaos to transform. Maybe it's the freedom that comes from letting go of control. Maybe it's something else entirely. Share it in the comments below. Tell your story. Your words, your experience, your journey might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Someone out there is going through exactly what you went through. And your story of how you found meaning, how you grew, how you survived, that story could be the light that helps them find their way. We're all teachers for each other. We're all students learning from each other's journeys. That's the beauty of community. That's the power of sharing our truths. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this time to explore these teachings with me. Thank you for being open to seeing your life through a different lens. Your presence matters. Your journey matters. And I truly believe that if you've made it to this point in the video, if you've stayed with these teachings all the way through, it's because you're ready. You're ready to see your life differently. You're ready to trust the process. You're ready to understand that everything, absolutely everything, happens for a reason. May you find peace in your journey. May you trust the unfolding of your path. May you see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. And may you awaken more fully to the truth of who you really are. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be kind to yourself, trust the journey, and remember, you are exactly where you need to be.